let us now begin with the discussion on the Rankine cycle. Can you list down the processes of the Rankine cycle? Please list down the processes. Which are the 4 processes in the Rankine cycle? The 4 processes in the Rankine cycle. List down those. Okay. So some students are writing. So 1 to 2, let us say, 1 to 2, let us say, is the constant pressure heat addition. Constant pressure heat addition, which obviously happens in the practical plant. It happens in the steam generator, boiler, that is. Yeah, correct, Yash. The next process is isentropic expansion, which is an ideal process which should happen in a steam turbine. An ideal process for a steam turbine is isentropic expansion, followed by a constant pressure. Yes, Kamlesh, you are right. Constant pressure heat rejection. Constant pressure heat rejection, which is an ideal process for the condenser. And then finally, there is an isentropic compression or isentropic pumping, which happens in the feed water pumps of the steam power plant. Okay, so these are the processes. If they are executed in this order, these processes would constitute a Rankine cycle. Okay, let me represent this on a temperature entropy diagram. Sorry. Let me represent this on a temperature entropy diagram. So when you are representing a vapor power cycle on a temperature entropy diagram, it has to be done always by drawing a vapor dome. Why a vapor dome has to be drawn? A vapor dome has to be drawn because you are dealing with two-phase working fluid. The working fluid sometimes is steam, sometimes it becomes liquid water. So you need to draw a vapor dome, and this is, let us say, the temperature entropy diagram. Now on the temperature entropy diagram, if you study the diagrams in properties of steam, you'll find that the constant pressure lines are the way I am showing. So this line, which is first ascending, then it is flat, and again it is ascending. This represents the constant pressure process. Okay, so let us say that this line, which is the constant pressure line, is the line which is representing the boiler pressure, which represents the boiler pressure. Okay, so it means that P1 will be equal to P2 will be equal to boiler pressure, right? Boiler pressure. What will happen to the temperature when the pressure is constant 1 to 2? What happens to the temperature during the process 1 to 2? During the process 1 to 2, the temperature would first increase. So suppose this is 1. The temperature will first increase, then it will reach the boiling point, that is say 1 dash. Then there is a boiling, and then it would get converted to dry saturated steam, and then the steam would be superheated. So let us say the 2 is, so what is the state at 2? Can you tell me what is the state at 2 of the working fluid? What is the state at 2 of the working fluid? Pranav, Kamlesh, Yash, Gargi, Sushant. Okay, Sharvari, you are right. Kamlesh, it is superheated. We don't use the term supersaturated, but it's all right. Okay, so superheated is the steam which is at the state 2. What is the state at 2 dash? Yeah, right, Sushant. What is the state at 2 dash? What is the state of the working fluid at 2 dash? Correct. It is dry saturated steam. It is dry saturated steam. Right. Correct, Kunal. Kamlesh. Now, what is the state at 1 dash? What is the state at 1 dash? What is the state at 1 dash? Yes, right. Pranav, Sharvari, Neha. State 1 dash is saturated water. Okay, stage 1 dash is one saturated water. And what is the state at 1? 1. What is the state at 1? Neha. Yeah, correct. It is subcooled water, not supercooled, subcooled, Kunal. Subcooled waters, subsaturated water, right? Correct, Jay. So this you need to very clearly understand, right? And just let me ask you, just because this sort of revision of the properties of steam also, what is this point A which I have drawn here? What is the point A which I have drawn here? The tip of the vapor dome. Yeah, it is a critical point. It is a critical point. Okay. So the boiler which I am considering, for the power plant, I am considering a subcritical boiler. Okay, it means that the pressure of the boiler is below the critical point. Are you getting the point? The boiler which I am considering for this vapor power cycle is the subcritical boiler. Okay. So in subcritical boilers, you'll always find that first the water gets sensibly heated from 1 to 1 dash, then it will boil from 1 dash to 2 dash, and then it will superheat from 2 dash to 2. Is this understood? In a subcritical boiler, the water would first get sensibly heated from 1 to 1 dash, that is up to the boiling point. Then there is a phase change from 1 dash to 2 dash, and then finally it gets superheated up to 2. Okay. Now the next process is what is the next process? 2 to 3. Next process is, how should I draw this next process on the temperature entropy diagram? Can anybody tell me? How should I draw the next process on a temperature entropy diagram? How should I represent the next process on a temperature entropy diagram? What is that next process 2 to 3? The next process 2 to 3 is an isentropic process, meaning the entropy is constant. And if the entropy is constant, it has to be shown by a vertical line. Vertical line. Is this correct or no? It has to be shown by a vertical line, right, up to the lowest pressure. What is the lowest pressure in the cycle? Up to what is the lowest pressure in the cycle? The lowest pressure in the cycle is the condenser pressure. Mind well. The lowest pressure in the cycle is the condenser pressure. Okay. So this is slightly, this 2 to 3. 3 is slightly within the vapor dome. So 2 to 3, 1 to 2 is a constant pressure process. Constant pressure process. And 2 to 3 is a constant entropy process. 2 to 3 is a constant entropy process. And you see on the diagram that I have drawn it a vertical line. Okay. Why it is vertical? Because I am plotting a temperature entropy diagram. So temperature entropy diagram means S2 has to be equal to S3 if it is a isentropic process. Right? What is the next process? The next process is 3 to 4. It is condensation at constant pressure. It is condensation at constant pressure. So constant pressure, heat rejection. Now when heat is rejected, what would happen to the entropy? When the heat is rejected, what would happen to the entropy? when the heat is rejected, the entropy would decrease, okay, from 3 to 4. 3 to 4, okay, 3 to 4, right? And finally, the next process is again at constant entropy, isentropic compression, okay, wherein the pump pumps the water from which pressure to which pressure? Pumps the water from the condenser pressure up to the boiler pressure. Okay, there is pumping of the water from the condenser pressure up to the boiler pressure, and this happens at a constant entropy. So again, I need to draw this 4-1 as a vertical line. Why I should draw 4-1 as a vertical line? I should draw 4-1 as a vertical line because I am drawing a temperature entropy diagram, and entropy at 4 is equal to entropy at 1. Is this clear for all? This is a very important diagram in the Rankine cycle. So you need to be very clear about this diagram. Anybody who has not followed this diagram? Anybody who wants me to repeat this diagram? Anybody? All of you understood this diagram, temperature entropy representation? Okay, Darshan wants me to repeat. So for Darshan, I will be repeating this again. Yeah, Ganesh, yeah. See, we are representing the Rankine cycle on the temperature entropy diagram. My objective is to represent the Rankine cycle on a temperature entropy diagram. Now, what are the processes in the Rankine cycle? There are 4 processes in the Rankine cycle, of which 2 are at constant pressure and the remaining 2 are at constant entropy. Okay. So let us say, because it is a cycle, so you can start from any point. So I am starting at 1. So 1 to 2 process is a constant pressure heat addition. So the line which I have drawn 1 to 2, which is first ascending from 1 to 1 dash, then it is at constant pressure from 1 dash to 2 dash. Sorry, it is vertical, horizontal from 1 dash to 2 dash, and again it is rising from 2 dash to 2. So this is a temperature entropy diagram. So it tells you what happens to the temperature. So you know that from 1 to 1 dash the temperature increases because it is a sensible heating. Then 1 dash to 2 dash the temperature does not change because it is a phase change, and from 2 dash to 2 again the temperature will rise because it is superheating. Okay, so you see the profile of this constant pressure line as ascending, then horizontal, and again ascending when you are drawing a temperature entropy diagram. Okay, the pressure at 1 dash 2 dash and 2, it is the same. Pressure at 1 dash 2 dash and 2, it is the same because it is a constant pressure heat addition, and that pressure practically would correspond to the boiler pressure. Okay, now 2 to 3 process is an isentropic expansion process. So when there is an expansion, there is a drop in the temperature. From T2 to T3 the temperature drops, the entropy remains constant. Okay, the temperature drops down, the pressure also drops down from P2 to P3. Pressure drops down from P2 to P3, temperature drops down from T2 to T3, and the entropy remains constant. So it becomes a vertical line on a temperature entropy diagram. Okay, followed by that, so this would correspond to the turbine. Okay, this 2 to 3 would correspond to the actual process in the turbine. Okay, so that you have to remember. Now the steam which is from the turbine gets into the condenser. In the condenser, heat is rejected, so the entropy will decrease from S3 to S4. Entropy decreases from S3 to S4, and because it is a phase change, the temperature will remain constant. So that is why it is shown as a horizontal line on a temperature entropy diagram, because the temperature at 3 is equal to temperature at 4 because it is a phase change process. Okay, and 4 to 1, you need to pump that water from the condenser pressure. What is P3 and P4? P3 and P4 are equal, and that is equal to the condenser pressure. Okay, P1 and P2 are equal, and that is equal to the boiler pressure. So you need to now pump that water from the condenser up to the boiler pressure, and that is performed by a pump, and ideally that process should be a constant entropy pumping, isentropic compression. Is this clear now, Ganesh, Darshan? Okay, thank you, Darshan Ganesh. Now let me go to the analysis of this. Okay, one can also represent this on a enthalpy entropy diagram. Okay, I'll just draw that diagram without explaining much. Let me just draw enthalpy entropy diagram over here. Okay, I'll use another slide. Enthalpy entropy diagram. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this vapor dome on an enthalpy entropy diagram looks like this. Okay, this is how it looks. It is not the way we show it on the temperature entropy diagram. So this is the vapor dome on the enthalpy entropy diagram. Enthalpy entropy diagram is also known as the Mollier diagram or Mollier chart. Mollier diagram. And the constant pressure lines on the enthalpy entropy line diagrams, they are diverging. Okay, this is how the constant entropy line looks. So this is constant pressure line. Let us say this is a boiler pressure line, and let us say this is a condenser pressure line. Okay, now the steam is superheated in the boiler. Okay, and there is a heat addition. So let us say this is your 1 and this is your 2. Okay, so the pressure remains constant. Then so this 1 to 2 is a constant pressure heat addition in the boiler, and 2 to 3 is a vertical. Why it is vertical? This is vertical because the entropy remains constant, and I am drawing an enthalpy entropy diagram. The enthalpy drops down because there is an expansion in the steam turbine. The enthalpy increases because there is a heat addition in the boiler, right? And then there is a condensation. During condensation, the enthalpy would decrease. It would decrease up to, obviously it would decrease up to the point when the steam becomes saturated water. Okay, so this is how you have to represent the. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is a representation of the Rankine cycle on the Mollier diagram or the enthalpy entropy diagram. Okay, we won't be using this more. We would be using this temperature entropy diagram often for solving the numericals, but you should also be comfortable with the diagram which I had drawn, that is the enthalpy entropy diagram. Okay, so as I will just repeat, 1 to 2 is a constant pressure heat addition process, 2 to 3 is an isentropic expansion, 3 to 4 is a constant pressure heat rejection, and 4 to 1 is an isentropic compression. Okay, so this is the representation of the Rankine cycle on a Mollier diagram or enthalpy entropy diagram. Similarly, you can draw the pressure volume diagram also, right? But that is not my purpose now. My purpose now is to go to an analysis of this Rankine cycle. Now, analysis of Rankine cycle objective is to get an expression for efficiency. Okay, I need to find the term for efficiency. Now, efficiency for this would be the net output. This is a heat engine, right? This is the heat engine. So net output upon the heat supplied. Heat supplied. That is how the engine efficiency is. Okay. This is the engine now. So engine, how do you calculate the efficiency? The net output upon the heat supplied would be the efficiency of the engine. First law efficiency of the engine. Okay. Now output of this is what? Where do you get output from the Rankine cycle? Which process? Anybody? In which process do we get the output? Any answers? Which process do we get the output from the Rankine cycle? Yeah, correct. Pranav, Sharvari, you are right. We get the output when the steam expands in the steam turbine, and ideally it happens isentropically. Okay. So the output is we get during the turbine work. So it is equal to W which process? 2 to 3 as per my nomenclature, minus the net output would be the pump work. That is, in my case, it is 4 to 1. Okay, in my case, I'm using the notations 4 to 1 for pump work. Okay, so turbine work minus pump work is my output. And where do I supply the heat? Which process do I supply the heat? Which process do I supply the heat? Yeah, correct. So the heat is supplied now during the process 1 to 2. Okay, constant pressure heat addition during, yeah, Sharvari. So the heat is supplied during 1 to 2. Okay, 1 to 2. Okay, so this is one way of calculating the efficiency, that is heat turbine work minus pump work upon heat supplied. Now let me get the expression for turbine work and pump work and heat supplied by using the first law analysis. So how do I analyze this Rankine cycle using the first law? So for that we need to apply the steady flow energy equation. Okay, so I apply the steady flow energy equation to each of this flow energy equation. Steady flow energy equation is applicable to which system? Closed system or open system? Steady flow energy equation is applicable to which system? Closed system or open system? Pranav, you are wrong. Sharvar, you are right. It is applicable to, Rushar, you are wrong. It is applicable to an open system. It is flow system. See, flow. The term itself will tell you it is flow. Right, Vedant? Okay, so flow means what? When will the mass flow in and mass flow out? If the system is an open system. Okay, and it is a special kind of open system. It is a steady system, right? So where the properties will not change with respect to time. So what we will assume in this analysis is that the boiler, that is a steam generator, the steam turbine, the pump, and the condenser and the pump, all this would behave as a, this is the assumption in your analysis. What we will be assuming that the boiler, the steam turbine, the condenser and pump would behave as steady systems, steady flow systems. Okay, meaning that the properties of these systems would not change with respect to time. This is an assumption. Okay, in actual practice you will find that the properties do change with the time. Okay, but that is called the transient analysis. Okay, so we are not going to do a transient analysis. For our purpose, for our level of understanding, we would be assuming that the system is a steady flow system. Okay, now when you consider a boiler, okay, if you consider a boiler, so you find that what is entering the boiler and at what state is it? What is entering the boiler and at what state it is? The state is 1, entry state, and exit state is 2, correct? As per my nomenclature, entry state is 1 and exit state is 2, right? So 1 is the feed water and 2 is the superheated steam. Do you agree with this? All of you agree with me that entering the boiler, it is the feed water which is entering and coming out is superheated stream. So what is the direction of the heat transfer? Whether it is from the system to the surrounding or from the surrounding to the system. What is the direction of heat transfer in the boiler? What is the direction of heat transfer in the boiler? Any answers? The heat transfer to the boiler is from, no, you're wrong. It is from the surrounding to the system. Okay, you are supplying heat to the boiler. Heat is supplied to the boiler, as a result of which Heat is supplied to the boiler, as a result of which what would happen? What would happen? Whether the heat would disappear? What would happen? Whether the heat would disappear? Where will that heat go? What will happen to that heat in the boiler? You are supplying the heat to the boiler. What would happen to the heat in the boiler? Any answers? No, that we get steam in terms of energy. We get steam, that is correct. In terms of energy, what would happen? The energy of the working fluid would increase, okay? And that energy we capture by the term enthalpy. That is U1 plus P1 V1 which is nothing but enthalpy H1, and at the exit it becomes a new energy, that is U2 plus P2 V2, which is nothing but H2. Okay, it means that we can write the steady flow energy equation as Qs is equal to m dot into H2 minus H1. Okay, this is the steady flow energy equation for the boiler steam generator in the during the process 1 to 2. Is this understood? Is this understood? That heat supplied in the boiler can be calculated as m dot into H2 minus H1. This is a steady flow energy equation for the boiler. Okay, I hope it is understood. In the turbine now, in the turbine, steam turbine, whether steam turbine is an open system or closed system? Whether steam turbine is an open system or closed system? Steam turbine is an open system or closed system? Rushali, it is wrong. Sarika, you are wrong. It is an open system because steam flows in and steam flows out. Yeah. It is an open system because steam flows in and steam flows out. Steam flows into the system, steam flows out of the system. Okay. So I have used the notation 2 at entry and 3 at exit. Yes or no? 2 at entry and 3 at exit. What is the direction of heat transfer in the steam turbine in my power plant which is being assumed? What is the direction of heat transfer? And how much is that heat transfer? What is the direction of heat transfer and how much is the heat transfer in my case? Chaitali, yes, it is open system. Kunal, you are saying system to surrounding. What is the direction of heat transfer in my case? And how much is that heat transfer? Ganesh? No. Any answers? Kunal and Ganesh both are wrong. No, Kunal, you are wrong. Kunal, Ganesh, Pranav, wrong. Okay, this is a tricky question. See, the heat transfer is 0. Heat transfer is 0. And why is it 0? Because I have assumed that process, the ideal process, as reversible and adiabatic. That is isentropic. That is isentropic. So the heat transfer is 0, right? Then what is the energy at 2? The energy at 2 is U2 plus P2V2. That is nothing but H2. And energy at 3 is U3 plus P3V3. That is nothing but enthalpy 3. Okay. So which energy is more? H2 is greater or H3 is greater? Whether H2 is greater than H3? Yes or no? Whether H2 is greater than H3? It is same. No, it is wrong, Kunal. H2 is greater than H3. H2 is greater than H3. And what happens is that H2 minus H3. No, Pranav, you are not getting it. That H2 minus H3. H2 is greater than H3, and that H2 minus H3 into m dot is what is the reason why you are getting the turbine work. That is the reason why you are getting the turbine work. Okay, Pranav, are you getting the point? So what is happening is, in the turbine, the enthalpy of the stream which is entering the turbine is utilized for getting the turbine work. Okay, so there is an enthalpy drop. There is an enthalpy drop in the steam turbine, and that enthalpy drop does not disappear. Okay, it is utilized for generating turbine work. Okay, so it is not in the turbine, you are not converting heat to work, mind well. Heat transfer is zero. What you are getting work from is not from the heat transfer in the turbine. You are getting the work because of the enthalpy which is at 2. Okay, the enthalpy which is at 2. So the enthalpy, the energy content of the working fluid itself is responsible for getting you the turbine work. Okay, I hope it's clear. So the steady flow energy equation from the steam turbine is m dot H2 minus H3. Similarly for the pump, one can write pump work is m dot into, if you look at the pump diagram. Okay, so entering stream in my diagram is 4 and the exit stream is 1, and you will get, you need to supply pump energy. So pump energy is m dot into H1 minus H4. This is the steady flow energy equation for the pump. Okay. Now efficiency would be what? Turbine work, the Rankine cycle efficiency would be what? Turbine work minus pump work upon heat supplied. Okay, so we have the expression for turbine work, which is H2 minus H3, m dot H2 minus H3 minus pump work, which is m dot H1 minus H4 upon the heat supplied, which is m dot H2 minus H1, m dot H2 minus H1. Okay, so m would cancel off and you will be left with the expression in terms of enthalpy. So it is delta H across the turbine minus delta H across the pump upon delta H across the boiler. Is this understood? This is the expression for the Rankine cycle efficiency. Is this understood? Yes or no? Okay, Jay has understood this. Sharabari has understood this. Tejas, Sarika, Pranav, all have understood. Others, Rushali has understood. Akanksha has understood. Bhushan Chavan has understood. Sushant Kanade has understood this. Saurav Bakre has understood. Okay, so I'll assume that I'm assuming that all of you understood. Do you want a repetition? Do you want me to repeat this? Okay. All right. Okay, so it means that what is the meaning of this is that if we are able to calculate the enthalpy of the steam from the steam tables, okay, at the points 1, 2, 3 and 4, okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4, if you are able to figure out the enthalpies at 1, 2, 3 and 4, that is at the salient points of the Rankine cycle, then one can estimate the Rankine cycle efficiency of the plant. Okay, so the Rankine cycle efficiency is what? It is a heat to work conversion efficiency. Okay, can it be 100%? Rankine cycle efficiency is the heat to work conversion efficiency. Can it be 100%? Yes or no? Oh, yeah, so Jay and Tejas are right. It cannot be 100% because the second law says that we cannot have an efficiency of 100% for any heat engine. Even for a Carnot engine, it cannot be 100%. Okay, please note this. So the efficiency, but as an engineer, okay, as a person who has studied these concepts, our aim should be to improve this efficiency, okay, so that there would be less fuel consumption, less coal consumption, and we get more output. Okay, so that is only in our hand, but there is a thermodynamic limit to it, that we cannot increase the efficiency to 100%, but we should increase the efficiency to whatever number possible. Okay, to whatever number possible. Okay, is this point clear? So what we have discussed is not near to it, Pranav. We cannot achieve near to 100%. Please note, we can achieve near to Carnot efficiency, not 100%. Right? Okay. So the point is, Rankine cycle efficiency gives you an important analytical tool to estimate the efficiency of the practical thermal power plants. Okay, the thermal power plants which you will be visiting in your coursework. Okay, those power plants can be neatly understood if you study this theory of the Rankine cycle. Okay, so Rankine cycle is a powerful thermodynamic tool for analyzing the different components of the thermal power plant, for understanding where the losses are happening, how much the losses are happening, and how to calculate the conversion efficiency, that is heat to work efficiency of the power plant. Another term which is useful in the analysis of the Rankine cycle systems or the vapor power cycles is called as the steam rate. Okay, so just take down this also. There is another term called as steam rate, and it is defined as 1 upon Wt minus Wp. Wt minus Wp. It means what? It means what? It means basically let me just tell you what it is. It basically tells you how much steam is required, to get you 1 kilowatt of output. Okay, or it is 1 upon Wt minus Wp. Okay, so unit of 1 is kgs per second, and unit of turbine work minus pump work is kilowatt. Okay, so the steam rate is what? It is basically the amount of steam required, the rate of steam required to generate 1 kilowatt of electrical power. Okay, so whether the steam rate should be higher or lower, what is desirable? Whether the steam rate should be higher or lower, the efficiency should be higher, no doubt about it. The question is, the way I am defining steam rate, that is 1 upon turbine work minus pump work, whether it is desirable to have a higher steam rate, whether it is desirable to have a higher steam rate, yes or no? Whether it is desirable to have a higher steam rate, yes or no? It is not desirable to have higher steam rate. Steam rate should be minimum. Okay. Similarly, there is another term called as heat rate. Okay. So steam rate is what? It is a steam required to generate 1 kilowatt of output. The other term is called as the heat rate. What is heat rate? Heat rate is the reciprocal of efficiency. Heat rate is the reciprocal of efficiency. Meaning what? Meaning what? It is the heat input. Efficiency is what? Output upon input. This is input upon output. Heat input upon the net work output. Net work output. Okay. So heat rate is, again, it should be minimum. So both the heat rate and steam rate should be minimum, because the heat rate is what? How much input we require to produce the desired output, and steam rate is how much steam we require to produce the desired output. Okay, so we should aim for the minimum steam rate and minimum heat rate, and we should aim for higher value of efficiency. Is this clear? One should aim for higher value of efficiency and minimum value of heat rate and steam rate. Is this point clear? Yes or no? Okay, Tejas has understood this, Pranav has understood this. Jay has understood this. I will again repeat. Sarika has understood. See, again I will be repeating. Yeah, Neha has understood. Rushali has understood. Efficiency is output to the input ratio. Heat rate is input to the output ratio. Steam rate is the amount of steam. It's not amount, actually the rate of steam required to generate 1 kilowatt of output. Okay. And hence it is important for us to strive to increase the thermal efficiency or Rankine cycle efficiency of the plant and to minimize the heat rate and steam rate. Okay, so this analysis gives us the benchmarks. This analysis gives us the benchmarks to improve or to work upon the physical power plants. Okay, so these benchmarks, these tools are very useful, very handy to actually analyze the practical steam power plants. For example, we have one steam power plant here at Nasik at Eklare. Okay, so whenever you visit that, you should be interested in getting the boiler pressure there, the condenser pressure there. Okay, you must know what is the temperature of the steam generated by that boiler at Eklare. Then what is the pump work which you will be getting. All this you can be interested in, and you can calculate the efficiency. Okay, and that efficiency would help you estimate how much cool the thermal power plant consumes every day or every hour or every second. Okay, all these calculations can be done. Obviously the assumption is what is the assumption in all these calculations? What is the assumption we are making in all these calculations? What are the assumptions we are making? Very important assumption we are making in this. What is that? What is the assumption we are making? Anybody? We are making an important assumption that the boiler, the steam turbine, the pump, okay, the condenser would behave as a steady flow system. Its properties will not change with respect to time. Okay, so this is an assumption. So with this assumption, we'll make some errors in calculations, no doubt about it. But nevertheless, this analysis would be useful in design of the plant. This analysis would be useful in the analysis of the actual thermal power plants. Okay, so hopefully this is clear to you. Let me just finally tell you an important concept and end this lecture. There is that important concept is called as mean temperature of heat addition. Okay, so let me explain you that concept a bit. The concept of mean temperature of heat addition. Okay. Look at the temperature entropy diagram which we have drawn. If you look at this diagram, what happens to the temperature during heat addition? What happens to the temperature during heat addition? You'll find that the temperature during heat addition increases. Okay, so the mean temperature is a representative temperature. T mean is a representative temperature which would replace all these four temperatures. Which four temperatures? That is T1, T1 dash, T2 dash, and T2. So I want to have one single constant temperature which is representing the actual varying temperatures. Actual varying temperatures means the temperature is varying from T1 to T1 dash, T1 dash to T2 dash, T2 dash to T2. Instead of that, I want this constant temperature to be defined. Now the basis of defining this constant temperature is that this should give me the same effect as that given by the original temperatures. Now what is that effect we are talking about? If you are talking about the Rankine cycle, the heat which is added by the Rankine cycle can be found out by the area under the process line 1 to 2. Is this clear? What does the area under the process line 1 to 2 give you on the temperature entropy diagram? On the temperature entropy diagram, the area under the line process line 1 to 2 would give me the heat added in the cycle. Okay, heat added in the cycle. So if I draw a constant temperature line, constant temperature line, such that the area under that constant temperature line is same as the area 1, 1 dash, 2 dash, 2, then that constant temperature line is called as the mean temperature line. Is this clear? Is this clear? What is the mean temperature line? The mean temperature line is a representative line, okay, on the temperature entropy diagram, whose area is the same as the area under 1, 1 dash, 2 dash, 2. Okay, so mean temperature of heat addition is a concept which would allow us to what? To replace the varying temperatures by a single constant temperature. Okay, and how is that single constant temperature to be chosen? The single constant temperature has to be chosen such that the area under that T mean is the same as the area under the varying temperatures 1, 1 dash, 2 dash, 2 line. Is this clear? Whether this is understood? Yes or no? Whether this is understood? Just tell me yes if you understood this. Okay, Pranav has understood. Jay has understood. Sarika has understood. Rushali has understood. Okay, Yashraj has understood. Okay, thank you. I'll assume that you understood this. We'll be solving one numerical in the next class. Okay, thank you, Akanksha. And based on the concepts which we have discussed in today's class. Okay, so thanks for being online. Have a good day.